What's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of Nerdcamp Sports. I'm your host, R&B, and I am, of course, joined as usual by the usual suspects, the co-hosts, the gentlemen that make this thing go, Mr. Raj, Mr. Mike Wills himself, and Coach Will. How y'all fellas doing this evening?
Doing good, man.
Doing good.
A little bit of
So,
a long day, but we're here now. It's over. Monday's done, and it's one down, four to go for me.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, as we always do, I'm gonna go around the room. I'm gonna start with Coach Will. I'm gonna ask each one of you guys, where are you at on the scale of 1 to 10 as far as your mental health?
I would say 6.5. Say 6.5.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Not too bad. Over the halfway mark. That's what's it. What
Most
about you, Mike?
definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and say it's 7. The weather's getting better outside. Mike and I had a little conversation before the show. Weather's got a lot to do with my mood, to be honest. So spring's finally here, man. So I'll say it's 7.
Yeah, that's why I'm like a little more tired than usual because like it's hot, so the heat takes a little bit out of you, especially when you weren't prepared all the way for it. So it went from 50 to 81. Went from the heat to the AC in the truck. It went from sweatpants to shorts. So just a lot of changes. But to answer the question, I'd say today I'm at about a 7.5. I'll say.
Good.
And it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. It's WrestleMania week, so
Mhm.
one of my favorite weeks of the
Well,
year.
I'm glad you said that, my brother. Because that's a perfect segue because that's exactly what's at the top of my list. It is WrestleMania week, gentlemen. We won't get to talk wrestling too much, but we can't pass it up on WrestleMania week. We gotta, at least acknowledge the fact that the big WrestleMania 42 live in Las Vegas is happening this weekend. Saturday night, Sunday night. It's gonna be a banger, I think, this year, man. I think it's very much more so anticipated this year than last year. I think a lot of the shit from last year with John Cena going heel, just a lot of stale storylines. It just wasn't given last year. This year, I feel like the build up and the hype has been somewhat better. We got a lot of good matches to look forward to for this weekend. So if I know me and Mike are probably the main avid wrestling watchers. So I'm gonna just ask Mike this one. Give me 3 matches that you're most forward looking to for this weekend, and then we can kind of move on from this topic.
So I would say that I have four that I'm really looking forward to. The first one is anytime I can see Seth Rollins in the ring is something nothing short of amazing. A lot of people hate Gunther, but I personally like him. Like I like what he does, what he brings to the table. So I'm gonna go with that as one. Another one is Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre are going to kill each other. And I'm here for it. I'm here for them to kill each other. Number 3 is, Triple H, listen to the fans for once. Brock Lesnar and Opal Femi. It's going to be something special. It's going to be something special. But y'all know they can't be number 1. I don't have mine on, but you got yours on. And Sunday night, Triple H can fix what he messed up at WrestleMania 40. what he messed up, giving Cody the title. Although I don't think Roman should win. I think CM Punk should go over. But I hope their storyline's been the most intriguing. The promos have been great. So those are my top 4 matches that I'm looking forward to for this weekend.
It's funny you say that because I think Punk is gonna lose because I think Cody's gonna win. I don't think they're gonna let Randy get that 15th. Is it 15, right? He going for 15, right?
It would be 15. The whole Pat McAfee into this storyline was unnecessary.
That's why I think he gonna lose.
And the other thing about it is, from what I've read, I don't know, I don't have complete confirmation, but ESPN wanted this and TKO agreed to it. So the power was taken from Triple H.
It's crazy you say that. I actually read a report. I don't know how true it is, but I read a report that said TKO actually had planned for Vince McMahon to be the secret voice that Randy Orton was talking to. But when those new allegations came out right at that, like a week ago, you know what I'm saying?
About
like
a week
right
and a
at that
half
moment
ago,
where
yeah.
they were getting ready to reveal who it was. And when she came and dropped these new allegations, I heard that they were kind of scrambling and they just went with Pat McAfee to kind of shift gears or whatever. But there's also rumors of The Rock kind of being like the one over everything over Pat while he's untouchable right now and all this stuff like that. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's gonna be fun to see it all play out, man. But enough of that. You know what I'm saying? Tune in this weekend. I know when I find time, I hopefully will have time because I'm supposed to be moving this week, but I definitely be tuning in. But outside of that, let's get into the nitty gritty of this thing. I want to start this one off with once again, we have to cover this brother again, man, because me and Mike had a discussion yesterday and I thought it was interesting. But Jaden Ivey, man, he's been in the news, as we know. We all know what he had to say about the LGBTQ community and how that went down, him being waived from the Chicago Bulls. And ever since then, there have been all of these different stories coming out. We've seen stories about him dealing with mental illness, dealing with depression, his wife leaving him, so on and so forth. I actually got a chance to see Jaden Ivey on a podcast about a week back. And I'll just say this, which I've kind of already said this since the beginning. I personally don't think he's dealing with anything mental like that, like to the scale that we all thought in the beginning. I think this is just who he is, and this is where he's at, and this is where he's been for a long time. Because if you go back and do some research, you can find videos of him when he first got drafted to the Pistons, where he was still kind of speaking some of the same stuff, maybe just not to the level that he was. But with that being said, saw a TikTok the other day, and I shared that it was a white guy. He was just kind of in uproars, as you know, some may say, because he was saying like, where's the black community at when it comes to defending Jaden Ivey? Because he was saying that Dr. Umar and all of these people that love to make their name when it comes to speaking out on stuff when people get released and things happen and the chastisement of the industry comes about when you say the wrong shit, have all been quiet as crickets. And he basically has said that he felt like if Jaden Ivey came out and said something about a white guy and got released, that they'd be all over it like flies on stain. So so I just kind of want to, I shared that. Mike had a response to it. I think he was kind of saying that he felt like if Jaden Ivey was a bigger star, maybe people would, be there. Me personally, I felt like obviously if LeBron came out and said some shit like that, it would be a much bigger story. For sure, I don't disagree. But with that being said, I personally don't think that it takes necessarily him being a bigger star for anybody to speak up. I think it's just what my man was talking about. People have a selective outrage, and they also have selective defense of things that they're willing to speak on and defend against when it comes to the industry. But I'm gonna start off with Raj. I just kind of want to know your thoughts on some of these things, man. What do you think? Do you think this is a thing where if he was a bigger star, people would kind of speak up, or do you think it's just kind of like, hey, we ain't touching that shit. Dr. Umar, all these cats like that, they not willing to touch that LGBTQ shit.
Yeah, I think because I actually did see the YouTube clip or the TikTok clip that came up with the white gentleman talking about the black community and where's their defense with Jaden Ivey. And in my personal opinion, I think when it comes down to the total consensus of the quote unquote black culture, we don't touch that topic. That's a very slippery slope because, as you guys already know, it's different than race because race is such a binary thing. It's either you are that race or you're not. But when it comes down to the LGBTQ community, their voice and their influence is so powerful because they're all different facets of different walks of life. It's not just one race, not just one type of sexual oriented. It's all different types. So I can say something right now, and it can be clipped, and let's say the bisexual community won't approve of it, or the transgender community won't approve of it. That all falls under the umbrella of LGBTQ. And I say all that to say that when it comes down to these certain superstars, no matter if they're a big superstar or even up and coming superstar, we don't touch that topic. We all come to the agreement without even saying it that we are not touching that topic because that can potentially lead us to getting fired, temporarily removed from our job, or it can lead to huge backlash. So there's certain topics that we won't touch. Now, if it came down to some injustice things, as far as let's say they fired him because he was let's say praying during the national anthem, right? Now that's a topic that we can put our heels behind and put our hands behind because now we can say, okay, as Christians, as Black Christians, we can speak against that because it's not fair that there's corporations that are marginalizing prayer during the national anthem. See, that kind of stuff can be fixed and can be spoken about. But when it comes down to this, that mafia, when it comes down to LGBTQ mafia, we're not touching it. And I say all that to say you got to be very careful what you say online because it can't ever be retracted or taken away. So Dr. Umar, I think, is quiet because of that. I think there's a lot of people like Lamont Hill. He normally speaks about Black injustice and people getting fired. There's a lot of people that's in the Twitter spaces as well that speaks about Black issues that are not saying anything because they're trying to hold their bag. Trust me, it's all a financial decision and a business decision. So with that being said, I wish Jaden Ivey the best with whatever that he does. I don't think it's anything too serious. I think it is slightly a cry for help because I do feel like he's becoming a little bit upset how the things are handled in the NBA. But welcome to the NBA. That's why you sign these contracts. So we'll see what happens, how this turns out. But he also got to understand that as an employer or an employee, you got certain responsibilities, things you can and cannot say. So he's got to be very mindful of that. Not saying careful, but just mindful of how things are played out. That's my take.
Okay. So Will, interesting something Rod said. I'm gonna hit you with this question. When it comes to the Brother Hill and Dr. Umar, all these dudes who love to get on social media and run their mouth, what I'm saying, talk all this BS, I'd say, like Rod just said, they say that they for the people and they about the people, and it's all about the people and positivity and the Black movement and this and that. But when we see something like this with Jaden Ivey and we see that they quiet as a church mouse, when you think about those type of people and these type of subjects and things that's going on, how does that make you feel? Like when you think about them per se, like can you really be for the people when you only consider when you only willing to speak on certain things because you more afraid of losing your bag or your clicks, likes, views, or whatever the case may be?
Um, even if you are a somebody who consider themselves like an activist, if that's a word you want to use, um, especially nowadays, there's still like an image, you know what I mean, that comes with all of that once you become like, because now like a Dr. Umar, for example, is more than an activist. He's like a celebrity and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like even with him, it's like I don't think he run around putting out every fire he can. It's got to be something that's, I don't want to say worth his time, but you know what I mean. It's got to be something that's going to draw him from whatever else the school that he been working on for, you know what I'm saying, how many ever years, or you know what I'm saying, that still ain't been building shit or whatever else it is. It's got to be worth his time. So I do think it matters that is. I said this when we were talking about this. I think that was last week. That again, y'all know me. More than one thing can be true at the same time. So I feel like Jaden Ivey is kind of standing on what Jaden Ivey was always standing on. I don't feel like they necessarily were going to cut him outright after the first tweet or whatever it was. I think he was just like, "Nah, I'm good." You know what I'm saying? Because he wouldn't be the first athlete, you know what I mean, to say some dumb shit on the internet and then have to apologize for it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't even think it was for him. I don't even think it was a fight. He was just ready to be over with. This is just me on the outside looking in, just observing. I ain't got no insider information and no shit. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like he was just kind of over the NBA. Um, he was ready to just like speak his mind. You know what I mean, and speak it freely. Um, I somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I ain't gonna act like I done been up on everything he been saying and you know what I mean, putting out there or whatever. But what I don't think I feel like I've heard from him is that he feel like the NBA did him some kind of way. So I don't even know if it's a thing that Dr. Umar needs to come address. You know what I'm saying? It's just that he said what he said about who he said it about, and they responded, and now he keeps responding, and they going back and forth. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like he out here saying, "Man, I can't get a contract because of this shit." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is what he
Yeah.
leaning into right now.
That's a good
So
point.
I don't even, know if it's something that necessarily calls for people to like come to his aid. You know what I mean? He ain't out here complaining. He just speaking his mind. He's speaking his truth, speaking on his faith.
Right.
Um, but I will say, if it was somebody with a bigger name or in a different market, you know what I mean? Yeah, it would be different. You know what I'm saying? Not only for, you know what I mean, the player, but like the whole conversation around it. It would be completely different. Because even though it was covered, like it wasn't like it would be if it was Steph or LeBron or KD or you know what I'm saying? Like or Shea or whoever. Like it
Yeah.
was just it keeps being a thing because he keeps responding to, you know what I mean? I'm not even saying I ain't even gonna say responding. He just keeps, communicating about how he feel about this conversation. So
Yeah. Yeah. I did. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So Mike, do you think do you think it's a chance Jaden Ivey ever plays another minute in the NBA again? And just kind of elaborate on some of your thoughts that you were speaking about the other day when me and you were chatting.
Yeah. So what you were saying wasn't wrong at all. I'm like just to what Will had said. Like I think both Will and Raj are both correct in what they're saying. It's just like if if a bigger name does something, it always has more eyes on it, right? That's the only thing I was alluding to was that because he's not as big of a name as some other guys or a lot of other players, your KD, your Steph, LeBron, Giannis, Joker, Kawhi. That's why he gets looked over. But I also do think that everyone's right in saying that it's a topic that is tough to be touched. I had on Honest Hour, I had interviewed a trans artist and I had questions, but I was really cautious about how I asked those questions because I did not want to offend the guest or anyone who's also in that community as well. I do think that I think the world, I've said this before, and I would say this, you guys see my videos and things of that. The world needs a lot, right? Like we need a lot. But the one thing we don't have enough of is love. We don't. Everyone has to hate on everyone else. Like if you walk differently, if you talk differently, if you like something different from that person, everyone just has this thing where we just can't have enough love. And I think if we could find love, the world would be such a better place. Like to me, he said what he said, and to your point, R&B, that you said before, that may just be who he is. Maybe he's not dealing with those other things, but maybe he is. I don't know. I can't allude to that. But I just think that regardless of who says these things, there should be someone in his corner. Whether it is Dr. Umar, whether it is Stephen A. Smith, whether it is whoever else you want to name, because we go through these things as men and as people, and I just hope we can one day, even if I'm not here, maybe my kids or my grandkids one day could see the world at a better place where there's more love and everyone can get along. But to answer the other original question, I do think he'll play again. These things do blow over. I mean, things happen and people lose their job. First thing that comes to mind for some reason is Shannon Sharp. He lost his job with ESPN, but he had his podcast. What happened there didn't tank it. He's able to keep it going and still do what he does. So I mean, it's just, I think he'll play again. He might take a little while because he's a little oh my god. There's a certain word I'm looking for, not radiant. There's a word I'm looking for, I just can't think of it. But yeah, right now no one's gonna touch him, but I think he'll play again. Maybe if not next season, the season after.
I got one statement, and we can move on after that. I just got one statement though.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the black pastors at?
It's a good point.
Fucking each other.
See.
So they not about to speak.
No. I'm saying that for a reason. I mean, the reason I'm saying that is because we're always looking for like the Dr. Umars or the talking heads, like Mike was saying, the Stephen A. Smiths, the big names. Where's the pastors at? Isn't he a Christian? So where's the pastors at? Where's the Marvin Saps of the world? Where's the Jamal Bryant of the world? That's the real question, because those guys are just as influential as the next person that's a celebrity. But yet they won't come out and speak with Jaden Ivey. They won't put their arms around him and guide him.
False prophets.
This will be their perfect opportunity. So I just wanted to just throw that out in the air. So, we can move on, but I just want to throw that in the air. Instead of looking for somebody, they need to look within.
Just because it's not public knowledge doesn't mean it's not happening. It doesn't mean that it's not anybody reaching out to him just because we don't know about it.
That's true.
All right, so moving things along, we went from one dude who got waved. Let's go over to another brother who waved himself. Doc Rivers is out as the Milwaukee Bucks head coach. Um, I just don't know
He
what the
said
fuck to think.
the way you said that was great. He waved
That was
himself.
perfect.
I just,
Hey,
Make sure.
hey, can I go first on this one, please?
Go for it.
Please complete your thought, but can I please go first on this one?
so, I'm gonna just open up the floor. We gonna start with Will. I want to know y'all thoughts on Doc Rivers. He said that this is his last hurrah. He doesn't plan on coaching anymore. We know that he won the one championship with Boston, but we know that for the most part, I'm gonna preference by saying this leading in the Will. I think Doc Rivers is a great head coach,
Mm.
teaching wise. The shit that like as far as
Great.
what he was able to actually, I think he's a great teacher of a head coach. He let's not be misconstrued now. Like he's developed some talent. He's definitely brought some teams along the way. He just has never been able to take them over the hump outside of the '08 Celtics. But with saying that him being, he said that this is his last hurrah. He doesn't plan on coaching anymore. I'm gonna open it up with Will. Do you think that Doc Rivers is a Hall of Fame head coach? And do you truly think that this will be the end for him?
I mean, he just got voted in, so you know what I mean. Um, I'll say this: couple of thoughts. Couple of thoughts. First one is about a week or so ago when they was asking Doc, when the media was asking him, you know what I mean, what he think he gonna be back next season? That motherfucker started talking about his grandkids. I knew it wasn't no chance in hell. You know what I'm saying? Like Doc, shit, Doc got his bags packed, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like Doc is on the golf course in Florida or some shit right now on the Bahamas, like right now. The season just ended yesterday, right? You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-mm.
like y'all know Nick Van Exel got traded from the Lakers to Denver because that nigga said 1-2-3 Cancun when they was down 0-3 in the first round. Like Doc was the one that Doc been in that bitch for the last month and a half. Like I can't wait until this shit is over. And he didn't even get fired. That ain't gonna get paid next year. He gonna be a fucking consultant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Doc gonna be all right. um, I mean, I do think he's a Hall of Fame coach. I think he's Hall of Fame worthy. I know he got some shit on his resume. You know what I'm saying? All them 3-1 leads that he lost is what, like 4 or 5 series or some shit like that, right? That he had a 3-1 lead and lost the
Man,
series.
bro.
I can't even remember who it was. I wish I could remember who it was so I could credit them. But I heard somebody say
Orlando.
something. Huh?
Oh, I thought you was talking about I thought you was talking about you couldn't remember what team's a 3-1 lead.
No. I heard somebody, a talking head, somebody on ESPN. They said that Doc is a much better coach with like underachiever type teams than he is with teams with high expectations. You know what I'm saying? So like the Orlando team. Yeah, I mean after T-Mac left, like they should have been left for dead. You know what I mean? He developed some talent, Van Wallace included. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them Clippers teams. You know what I mean? Where fucking Lou Williams was leading them and scoring off the bench and shit. They didn't have a guy. It was like by committee, and they were competitive. Like when it is, it's not a compliment and it's not a diss. It's just an observation. He does much better when it's not high ass expectations on him and his teams. When people ain't expecting much from them, he does very well with those teams. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Hall of Fame worthy, yes. We doing our coach list right today. Did anybody do their coach list?
I didn't know we was doing it. I thought we already
No,
did. We did NFL coaches. That's right.
Yeah.
I
oh,
didn't
we
know
got
we was doing the
yeah. I
coach
didn't do
list
it. I
though.
didn't do it this week.
That was the last one. It's all good. But when I was like, which I'm technically still kind of working on my list, he not in my top 10. You know what I'm saying? And there's some coaches that don't have a championship that I think are better coaches than him. Jerry Sloan is a better coach than him to me. You know what I'm saying? Jeff Van Gundy is a better coach than him to me. So it's, I ain't saying it's like a long ass list, but there are some coaches that don't have a championship. Sometimes for a coach, it's about being in the right place at the right time with the right team. Fucking Frank Vogel got a championship, right? You know what I mean? I don't think anybody would consider Frank Vogel like obviously not a bad coach. 'Cause he had success in Indy, right? Before he was the Lakers
Indiana.
coach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Paul
before with
George,
Indy.
Indiana.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think he's a Hall of Fame coach. I just think that he in the lobby. You know what I'm saying? Like he damn sure ain't in the penthouse. You know what I mean? But he in the lobby. He had to, you know what I mean? Like he gets he gets some light refreshments and shit. He get bagels and you know what I mean, coffee and you know what I'm saying, and some apple juice or some shit
Yeah.
like
Some apple
you know.
juice.
You know, you know, he don't get the you know what I mean, the prime
You don't
rib
get the
and the
full.
A5
You don't get the
wagyu and you know what I
fillet.
mean. He don't get the A5 wagyu. You know what I'm saying? But he all right in there. He good where he at. He made it in the dough.
Mhm. So something interesting you had said, and I'm gonna segue this one over to Mike as a question. Will mentioned that it's been kind of noted that people kind of feel like Doc is better with his teams that had less talent as an overachiever versus his teams with talent where he underachieves. Do you think that could be a thing where he doesn't mesh well with top ranked players, like that he just seems, because it's a lot of stories out there in the media when you watch like All the Smoke and all these different podcasts where you hear a lot of these different players talk about run-ins that they had with Doc Rivers where it damn near came to blows. We all know the noted relationship between him and Rajon Rondo, how it was kind of rocky. So my
Right.
question to you, Mike, you know what I'm saying, do you think that he does not mesh well with superstar players?
I'll say this. Sometimes people, a lot of people renown Phil Jackson as the greatest coach ever, right? But then people say that, oh, look who he coached. Now, let's take a look at this. And I say that to say for a reason. So sometimes you need someone good at coaching to handle multiple all-star players to handle egos. Some coaches have to handle egos, and players do not check their ego at the door. They just don't, especially in the NBA. So I think for him, expectations are scary. Now, once he won with the Celtics, once again, there was an expectation. He did not get back to there with the Celtics. Then he had, listen, I don't care what anyone says. Them Clippers teams should have won at least one championship.
Mm-hmm.
At least one. I think personally, even two. But they should have won a minimum of one. But there were a lot of people. You had CP, you had Blake, you had Jordan, DeAndre Jordan, obviously. Oh my gosh,
AJ
you had
Redick.
Crawford.
JJ Reddick, Lou
Yeah.
Will,
Reddick.
Jay
Mhm.
Crossover.
List goes on
You
and on
had
and on and on.
Yeah.
that list of players. Those teams were special, and to me, I think Will's point is right about him having the expectation part, but superstar players just ain't his thing. I mean, wasn't he the coach when you had Tatum, Brown, and Kyrie there all at the same time? He was the coach at that time, right?
No, I
Yeah,
think that was Bradley
No,
no,
Stevens.
that was Brad Stevens.
that's
Was
Yeah,
Brad
it
that was
Bradley
Brad
Stevens?
He
Stevens.
was,
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah, he was
yeah,
Wasn't
already in
sure.
yeah.
LA by then.
He kept underachieving too, which is why he ended up going upstairs and taking the job upstairs.
Yeah, he was like, I'd rather control who's here versus me being here and being controlled. But I think that for him, oh yes, I agree that he doesn't know how to coach superstar players that well. And then you look at the Bucks situation, they fired their coach for him. Like this
that's
man wasn't even like coaching bad. The team, I think, you can correct me if I'm
No,
wrong, if one of you guys remember, was in second or third place in the
they,
conference, and they
they was like
fired the
32
coach.
and 12. They was like 32 and 12 or
Yeah,
something
it was
like
like
that.
yes,
32 and 11 and 12, something like that.
yes,
For
yes,
sure.
And then
yes.
you fire him for Doc Rivers. That is the second most asinine thing that I ever seen besides Dwayne Casey winning Coach of the Year and then getting
And
fired
getting
by the
fired.
The
Raptors.
same,
That was
same,
number one, the
same
most
week.
asinine thing in terms of head coaches that I've ever seen. But I just think that the expectation was too high. And the other thing too, at least with the Bucks, and I'm only really staying there because that's what's most current. They have tried to win another championship with the same formula. Wouldn't they win 2021? Right? I think
Yeah,
22.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, 21.
2021.
Five years, and it has not worked again. And part of that, all of it ain't on Doc, but a lot of it is. Um, or a portion of it is, I would say. But he
Yeah.
just, if he's done, let it be. But Doc, if you watch this, Raj wants you to coach the Nets.
Hell no.
Real
And
quick, real quick before you go, Raj. In fairness to Doc,
Mm-hmm.
second year with the big three in Boston is when KG fucked his knee up. So that kind of changed everything. You know what I'm saying? They made
Yeah.
it back to the finals that following season, but KG was never the same again after that. Um, with the Clippers, every fucking playoff run, either Chris Paul was hurt or Blake was hurt, and I'm pretty sure one of them playoff runs, both of them niggas got hurt. Um, can't put that on Doc either. And even like, I'm not saying that they should have fired. It was Adrian Griffin, right? That was the coach. I ain't saying they should have
yeah,
fired him for Doc, but and maybe Doc just like fucking cursed or some shit. He got there, you know, Dame get hurt, Giannis get hurt, like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's a long list of injuries. Even like T Mac, you know what I mean, taking a nap, falling asleep, and then like waking up and his back was never the same again. You know what I mean? Like all of that shit was under Doc's watch. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to say it was his fault. You know what I mean? I guess kind of the opposite. Like it's, you know, I ain't absolving him of any responsibility. Don't get me wrong, but he done had a long list of seasons that just kind of went in the tank because of injuries too.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
That I
true.
wouldn't disagree with. But we gonna keep it moving along here to Raj. I'm gonna open up the floor to Raj because I know this is a sensitive topic for him. I just want to know, brother, what are your overall thoughts of Doc Rivers as a head coach? And also, real quick too, the whole situation with Milwaukee and the Adrian Griffin firing. I was just looking it up. They were 32 and 11 at the point where they fired Adrian Griffin. Well, let's not forget it was Giannis who had something to do with Adrian Griffin's firing as well, because they were saying that he wasn't getting along with them. He just didn't like the way that Adrian was coaching the offense. But to move it along though, with Doc Rivers, I just want to know your overall thoughts, man. Like the floor is yours.
Listen, I know we're talking NBA, but if there's a such thing as erasing a Rooney rule in the NBA, it's going to be because of Doc Rivers. That man is overrated. He's one of the worstest coaches I've ever seen coach basketball. I don't want to hear, oh, well, he coached legends. Yeah, and they all failed. He got one ring. He got one ring. He coached Giannis Antetokounmpo, MVP. He coached Joel Embiid, MVP. He coached Blake Griffin. He coached Chris Paul. He coached he coached all these players. I mean, great players, Hall of Fame players, and got one ring out of all those times that he was coaching. This man is the worst coach I've ever seen coach in my whole entire life. And I don't know if he got some like nude pictures of somebody. I don't know how he keep getting these jobs, but this man keep getting these jobs. And I'm wondering, is he the Epstein of the NBA? Because this man stay with a job, and he don't deserve a job. Adrian Griffin was 32-11. Why the hell did they fire Adrian Griffin? Nobody can explain that. I guarantee you, Giannis Antetokounmpo regrets the day that man walked out that door, and when Doc Rivers walked in that door, because it seems like when he walks in the door, everybody's hurt. Dame's hurt. Blake's hurt. Jordan's hurt. Chris Paul's hurt. If it comes down to coaching and superstars, I guarantee you the players hurt. I mean, Ben Simmons have not been the same since Doc Rivers walked in that building. His back hurt.
Fuck. I forgot about Philadelphia Doc too.
Yes. The list
I
goes
forgot about
on
that
and
part.
on
I knew
and
it was
on
a
and
team I
on
was
and
leaving
on.
out. I just couldn't remember who it was.
Yes. Ben Simmons haven't walked. Matter of fact, Ben Simmons had to retire because of Doc Rivers. Okay? This man is a witch doctor. Doc Rivers is a witch doctor. Let's keep it a stat. I don't know what he got on him. I don't know. Yes. I don't know what type of juju this man carries. But the list goes on and on and on and on. How many superstars are injured, hurt, and can't make the second round? Can't get out the freaking second round. I'm surprised he didn't coach James Harden. He's the worst coach I've ever seen in my life. So with that all being said, good riddance, Doc Rivers. I don't want to ever see you coach again, sir. Not even for a little league team, not even an AAU team. If I see you, I'm calling the cops. You better not touch another court again. The only court that you need to be touching is divorce court. That's it. And the people's court. You better not touch a basketball court, sir. I don't want to see you ever again, sir.
So if you had to pick Doc Rivers to be your coach or Ben Simmons to return, which one you picking?
I'll choose Ben Simmons. I'd rather Ben Simmons return and fake an injury versus Doc Rivers killing the whole organization.
I ain't gonna lie, I hate to say it, but I think I had to agree with that one too. At least I feel like it might be some upside there.
There's some upside with Ben Simmons. Somewhere, somehow, he's 6'10", damn it, jump. He could get a rebound. But Doc Rivers, as soon as he walked through the door, everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt. Can't get out the second round.
They either hurt, beefed out, or underachieving.
Yes.
Hey, I gotta retract my statement earlier just a little bit because I just thought I really just did some math in my head, and I'm sure I'm leaving some people out. But Doc has coached no less than 10 surefire first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yes.
Doc might have done the least with the most. You know what I mean? In a way that we haven't really seen before. Like like for real. Like T-Mac, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, KG, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, and B gonna get in. And even if he don't, he won a fucking MVP. James Harden, Giannis, Dame Lillard.
Rondo.
That is fuck. You think Rondo gonna get in? I hope he do.
I think you can make an argument for Rondo.
I do
think
too.
I think he
I
deserves
do
it. As
too.
much as I hate
Hey,
him, I
okay.
think he deserves
But
it.
exactly. But so I gotta correct myself. Doc is still in the lobby, but Doc washing windows. Doc serving niggas refreshments. You know what I'm saying? Making sure the bathroom clean. You know what I'm saying? Like Doc working to stay in.
He's working.
Doc,
He's working.
Doc ain't in there.
Shining the hallway flows.
Dog. Man.
He's
Can I get your
sweeping.
sir? Can I get your jacket, sir? You know what I'm saying? Nigga, Doc. Yeah, Doc.
And he is still horse doing it all. Still horse.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He the first coach I ever seen go horse in the preseason game. I was like, what the fuck? Like, nigga,
Need to go
horse
see
this
a
a
throat doctor.
preseason.
Oh man.
Man,
Oh man.
man,
Oh man, but we gonna keep
I think Doc, when Giannis got hurt in the playoffs last year, I think Doc knew this was a fucking season for him, but he wasn't gonna quit because he wanted his money. You know what I'm saying? That nigga started telling his players to Google him and shit, which probably wasn't the best idea because all them fucking 3-1 comebacks
3-1
are gonna come
lead.
up when you know what I'm
Oh
saying when
yeah.
you Google them.
The 3-1 leads that he blew about 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we keep it moving along. I got a subject I want to touch on. We've kind of touched on this over the past few weeks, but something I had talked about with my bro the other day, and I want to kind of bring it to the table. So we all know the NBA 65 game rule. We all know that players like Cade, Luca, I think they said Joker
Anthony
just
Edwards,
made it last night. Yeah,
he had to play.
Anthony Edwards. Yeah, he
Yeah,
had to
Joker
play
had to play
15 minutes
15
last
minutes.
night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like some of these players will not be eligible for awards and all NBAs and stuff like that because of the 65 game rule. And which we've spoke about this before, and I am in favor of the 65 game rule. But I want to know what you guys think about this. And I'll go to Roger with this one first. What would you guys say if they kept the 65 game rule intact, but say you have a season kind of like Cade Cunningham, which I said that this was probably the perfect storm for it to happen to somebody like him, who we all know was like in that top tier of the MVP conversation pretty much throughout all of the, I say what, maybe like the just before the All-Star break up until he got hurt. You know, it's saying he was like one like top three in the MVP conversation. We know the season that he's had with Detroit, number one seed in the East this year, and then all of a sudden, boom, collapse lung. I think they should be able to file an appeal with the NBA in order to become eligible for these awards. They should be able to file an appeal and go to the NBA and say, hey, you know what I'm saying? This is a legitimate injury, splaze splee, you know what I'm saying? I should still be eligible to for these awards or for these all NBAs. Now, when we're talking about players that's just low managing and just taking nights off because they don't want to play or you know what I'm saying, they don't feel like playing, then you know, hey, that's what the 65 game rule is for. And that's why I'm in favor of it. Hell, Cade on his he returned a few nights ago and played and they asked him about it in the press conference and even him, someone who this is going to rob him of these opportunities this year, said that he's a fan of the 65 game rule because he understands why it's in place, because he feels like, you know, these players need to show up to play when they can play for fans that spend their hard-earned money. So again, I you know, starting with Raj, I want to know what you think if they're able to go to the office, to the league office, and say, you know, hey, I want to file an appeal because my injury was legit, and we all know that I had been playing, you know what I'm saying, damn near every game up until this injury. What do you think about that?
I totally agree, especially for Cade, because Cade is like an old school type player that you can tell if he's like able to play, he's going to play. He's going to show up and he's going to play as hard as he can. It's unfortunate that he had a lung injury, which is crazy, because there's no real true timetable to when he can come back or how long he will be out. So I think it's unfortunate because it's almost like a catch-22 when it comes down to like first team NBA and his MVP status as well. But like you said, if it's somebody who's resting because they don't want to play, I think those are the type of players that don't need to receive any type of first or second or third team type opportunities that they normally give at the end of the season. But I honestly believe they're probably going to adjust the 65 games to about 60 next season because a lot of players are complaining about it, especially those who are really actually showing up to the game. I know that Victor Wembanyama mentioned some math on it as well, but something got to give. Something got to give, and I hope that they can give some type of appeal and say, listen, I understand the rule, but in this type of certain situation, we really can't help the fact that we only played 60 games this season or 59 games because of a certain severe injury that happened. I think there should be exceptions to the rule when it comes down to those type of things. And last but not least, I want to say that I am a fan of the 65 game rule as far as like monitoring the ability to get the players out there on the court, but I'm not a fan of forcing people to get hurt or play while they're actually really seriously hurt. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I'd rather them do
Facts.
less games.
Facts. Okay. So, Mike, I open up the floor to you with the same question, man. What do you think about the 65 game rule if they're able to go and file an appeal with the league office to say, hey, this is a legitimate injury. I've been playing all season. I played every game, and now I'm hurt. You guys can't do this to me.
So before I answer that, I'm going to go another direction. Can one of you tell me how many minutes Victor Wembanyama played this season?
Not sure.
1,866 minutes is what he played. Can you take a guess how many minutes Luka Doncic played?
Ain't it like 1,600 or something too?
2,289. So, I think you can see where I'm going with this.
But hold on, is it minutes or games? Because it's not minutes. It's games.
Minutes played.
I see where you're going with it though.
Yeah,
Luka played less games, but played way more minutes.
Yeah,
but
we all know that because Wemby had a lot of restrictions this year. He was hurt, and then when he came back from being hurt, he was on the minutes restriction.
Yep.
But he only played like 30 minutes a game or something like that, though, in the general sense.
20,
even when he
29,
like
30
healthy. You know what I'm saying? He's somewhere between 28 and 30.
The only reason I bring that up is because minutes were a thing. He had to play X amount of minutes to qualify. The Joker had to play X amount of minutes to qualify.
That was for that game to count. You know what I mean? Towards being eligible. So you can't like play 2 minutes, get hurt, and have the game qualify. You know what I mean? Towards being eligible for these awards.
I understand that, but I'm just looking at another scenario. I think it's a competitive nature. I do think that for them to play 65, listen, we all grew up watching 90s basketball and watching Kobe. Niggas weren't missing games. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, unless you know, Kobe breaks fingers, ties them together. Jordan had a fractured foot, he's out there, Now a guy has a cough and he wants to sit out. We get all that. My thing is, I think that there should be an appeal process. I do agree with that. But even Cade played 2,150 minutes. So to me, I think that if and it doesn't have to like go through, but I think it should be considered. You got a player like Wimby who has under 2,000 minutes is eligible, and then you have players that are over 2,000 minutes ineligible. That's a flaw to some extent, and I know that to an extent they can't. They're not the league can't tell a team how to use a player. We know Luka has been a workhorse for the Lakers. Like he has been abused. And that's probably why he got hurt. The Cade thing was just, that happens in sports. It's happened in football, it happens in basketball. It just happens. But it's just I just don't something's unsettling about that you can have all these minutes and it really counts for nothing. But to answer the actual question, I think each injury should be looked at. And Cade is a prime candidate for something like that. I'm glad that based on what you just said, he's humbled about it and understands it. But in the same sense, it really is just sad. You know, and I think Raj is right. They might look at this and I don't think they'll go back to what it was before, but they might lower it to 60. They might, or they might say X amount of games or X amount of minutes. That's something I would rather them do. So I would say if you have to either do a minimum of 65 games or whatever. Let's just say for the sake of the take, I'll say 2,000 minutes played. Mm-hmm. That creates eligibility. That way you're keeping pace with your 65, really, but you're not counting anyone out if they hit the minutes required to be eligible. But I do think they need to do some fixing with it, especially like you said with people like Cade, because that's something that's hell that might not even be basketball related. That could just happen. Scary.
Yeah.
So I'm of course we about to bring it over to you, Will. But with Mike bringing that new information to the table, I kind of want to rephrase how I'm gonna ask this. What do you think about this 65 game rule, and then being able to go and file for an appeal? But also, how do you feel about the system itself with the flawedness of these minutes and different things like that? I will say that with Wimby, as I was kind of saying before, we all know that he's had a lot of minutes restrictions this season, and a lot of games where he would only play so many minutes because of injury. We all know how he's built. He's built like a giraffe, so you got to be delicate with him because he's so nimble and easy to be hurt. And also with Luka, I just want to say this real quick. I feel like Luka kind of did some of this to himself with all of the technicals and getting ejected and suspended with technicals and stuff like that. He kind of did a little bit of this to himself. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if he retracted some of the ejections and technicals, then maybe we having a different conversation right now. But you know what I'm saying? With that, I open it up to the floor to Will.
I mean, this one hit too close to home, so obviously I'm all for some kind of exception being made. Not, what I mean, out of any bias, but because I think it's fair to him. He deserves it. Feel like they decided in the middle of last season, as long as the owners and the players association can get together and work it out, if they agree to make changes, they can always change things in the CBA. So I feel like they should tweak it. I feel like Mike made a great point about the minutes. I don't feel like it just has to be like one marker. You know what I mean? It could be 65 games played, or 2,000 minutes played. You know what I'm saying? Comparing anybody against Wemby, I don't think it's fair in regards to the minutes, because it's not just this season. Like they have been very, very strict and regimented. Even before he got drafted to the league, his whole method of preparation, and he had like a whole team, and because they aware that he, you know, he's 7'3", 7'4", and we ain't used to seeing people his size move the way he do and having to do what he do on the court. So he's it's not just this season. His minutes are always going to be down, and he's probably never going to play an 82 game season. He's never going to average, you know what I mean, 37, 38 minutes a night. Um, Most teams are going away from playing players that much anymore. You know what I mean? It's more in the 32, 34 range for your, all-stars and best players. It is some players that play more, but so his number is always going to be skewed. It's never going to look like everybody else's, but it's kind of like just what you see when you watching. You know what I'm saying? Like he is he might be unquestionably the best player in the league right now. Like it's nobody affects the game the way he do. So they are just being careful with him. I get that part. And it's probably gonna end up costing him, you know what I mean, at some point. It's gonna cost him an all NBA, or it cost him a defensive player of the year last year. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't play enough games. And we all know he was headed towards it. So um like I said, I don't feel like they need to get it right. But you know what I'm saying? They might have to tweak this a time or two, because it also took like a extraordinary set of circumstances for this shit to happen the way it did this year. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, Wemby is always going to probably be in that 65 game range, 70 game range. But Joker had legitimate injuries. Anthony Edwards had legitimate injuries. Cade ended up with a legitimate injury. Luca had legitimate injuries. Like, you know what I'm saying? Austin Reeves. There's a lot of all NBA caliber players that missed a lot, and people who was Tatum was out. Giannis was in and out of the lineup. Eventually, they just wouldn't let him play. They wouldn't let him be great. But this was just a weird, strange season in a lot of ways, especially when it came to injuries and all the different people of that caliber that were injured this year. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like it's going to be like this every year. So I don't want them
Yeah.
to overcorrect either. You know what I mean? By assuming that this first year happening this way is what the normal is going to be like. Um, and the rule itself, I like the spirit of the rule. I just want them to tweak it and kind of get it right. Because I think to some degree, it's always going to be some kind of little fuzzy gray area in there when you're trying to legislate players to play. Um, so yeah, I say they might have to tweak it another time or two, but I just want them to get it right. Like I said, maybe they need multiple different, markers to make yourself eligible. But you know what I mean. You know, it's the letter of the law, but then it's also the spirit of the law too. And I think everybody was kind of on the same page about that. That K really was. He had missed some games, like some maintenance games, but he had missed a whole lot. He was playing every night.
Right,
You know what I'm saying, for the most part. So I feel
right.
like everybody kind of saw that.
Mm,
So hopefully it'll lead to something. You know what I mean, to where they can kind of rectify that.
okay, okay, okay. Well, we'll see how the NBA moves forward with that one, man. It's a slippery slope, but hopefully they can do the best they can to make the proper adjustments to try to get it as right as they can get it, I guess we have to say. But before we move on and talk about the turn play-in games that start tomorrow night, I want to veer off for a quick second for two NFL topics real quick. Dontavius Wicks was moved to the Philadelphia Eagles from Green Bay. He's a young receiver, uh, has a lot of good upside, promising, made some clutch plays throughout the season for Green Bay this year. I think he can be another target for Philadelphia. But what I want to know, though, is how much help can this really do for Philadelphia if we don't feel like the problem is the receivers because, gentlemen, Jalen Hurts has not been offered a contract extension. I want to know y'all thoughts on that.
He
Let
in
me
the
take
last
this
year of
one
his
first.
deal.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me take this one first. I meant to bring that up last week or last time I hosted and I forgot. Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, right now, is the most disrespected Super Bowl quarterback. And I feel like Philly puts a leash on him. When they won that Super Bowl, I don't know if you guys, you and Raj remember R&B, but I said in order for them to beat Kansas City the second time, he was going to have to throw the ball. He was not throwing the ball up until that point. And what did he do? He threw the ball. And he threw the ball well, and they won. The score didn't justify the game, but he threw the ball well enough for them to win the game and win very convincingly. Something I don't even think any of us picked, if I remember correctly. Now, the issue is, to me, is not the receivers. I don't even think it's fully Jalen Hurts because there's times where they let him unlock and he does what he's supposed to do. Their head coach is their problem. And that's not saying he's a bad coach, but he definitely leashes Jalen Hurts, right? And now look at the domino effect, okay? So they won a Super Bowl. Let's be honest. Jalen Hurts did do his thing, but Saquon Barkley was the key to that Super Bowl, right? No matter how you word it, the season he had was phenomenal. Now, Saquon didn't have a great season last season. Well, at least not to the prior season. Now, you're not throwing the ball like that. A.J. Brown is an issue. Like, he's upset. And he's becoming a distraction. Now, we got to remember his last name is Brown. So, we do have to remember that. So, you have that. That's a distraction. You bring in another receiver, but you haven't fixed the problem. And you not offering Hurts a contract, that's an issue. Because now, the tone for the season has been set. Now, if you keep A.J. Brown, let's just say for now, they keep him. They go into next season with him. Now, every time shit goes wrong, those trade rumors come up. Jalen Hurts will be a repeat talk of his play. And if you get another not to par or expected season from Saquon, this whole thing is just drama. So for this receiver, I don't think he's going to help. He could help. Let me say that. He could help, but until they figure out what they're doing with their core pieces, this team's only going to go in disarray. And they've lost a lot of players too. So, and then I look at their division, you look at Washington, they'll be back. I think they'll be back to respectable again. Could be, I mean, it's Dallas. We don't expect much out of them. It is Dallas. And as for the Giants, listen, I don't know what to expect from them. But I can tell you the culture there, I feel for the Giants and their fans, it's going to be different. And they're going to win more than 3 games. So if Philly's not careful, and they don't figure all those pieces out, and it's going to be a long season for them. And you know what? Before I wrap up, I know it was a little long-winded. I hope it is. So their fans, shut the fuck up. Lord. It's like Dallas is bad. Their fans have been quiet. And then the Philly fans just like, we going to step up and talk shit. No, shut up. Shut up. The only thing is, at least they got a reason to talk. Y'all won a Super Bowl recently and bend it too. So, all right, now I'm done.
All right, so Raj, why Jalen Hurts ain't got this contract extension? Like, why? I need to know.
I honestly believe that Jalen Hurts isn't good enough. I've been saying it for years. He's overrated, and he's not one of those quarterbacks that show any type of emotions. He don't show any type of care. He just goes out there and he's a system quarterback. I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback, but he's a system quarterback. And the gig's up. The gig's up. Philly knows. One thing about the organization, they know better than we do because they watch him every single day. And I've been
Wouldn't,
saying it for a few years that he's not that
wouldn't
guy
you say that every quarterback is a system quarterback though, to a certain extent?
to a
Kind
certain
of feel
extent.
like it.
But he's basically the black Brock Purdy. How about that? Does that clear it up?
Damn it, I'm just
That's
getting over a cold. Stop making me laugh. Coughing this shit.
but
All right, I give it. Enough
but I'm
said. Enough said.
but I
Touche.
say I say all that to say there's certain quarterbacks that just don't have that it factor, and he's one of them. And that's why AJ Brown was pissed off with him. That's the reason why they didn't offer him the contract because they realized that look, we can win without him. If we find a quarterback that's a better system quarterback than Jalen, we don't got to pay him top dollar because, like Mike said, let's be honest, it wasn't just the throwing that won him the Super Bowl. It was Saquon's incredible ability to get in the end zone and to be one of the best running backs that whole entire season. So they can win without him. Now, as far as adding Wicks, I think Wicks is a good wide receiver. I think he played great out there in Green Bay. But if you don't got a quarterback to throw to him, then it doesn't even matter. It's almost like leaving your Lamborghini in the driveway and not pulling off. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just going to be just wasting and collecting dust. So he got two Lamborghinis now. He got AJ Brown and he also got Wicks. And if you want to throw in what's the other wide receiver
Devontae
from
Smith.
Alabama? If you throw Smith in there, you got three Lamborghinis in the driveway, but you haven't drove them in a while. So we'll see what happens. But I honestly believe they're going to find a better quarterback, and they're probably going to go after somebody that's in the free agency market next season.
Okay. So with that being said, Will, with the draft just about 2 weeks away, the NFL draft, would you be surprised to see Philly take a quarterback in the top 4 rounds?
Not at all. Shit, they drafted Jalen Hurts when they had just paid or what's his
Carson
name?
Wentz.
Carson
He was
Wentz.
he, Wentz. He
Carson
was on.
Wentz.
He looked like he was on his way to possibly being the MVP that year. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, they drafted somebody. You know what I mean? When he got hurt, Hurts came in. Like that's Philly. I don't think if they were worried about Jalen Hurts, he would already had an extension. I think he's playing for his job. I think Sirianni is coaching for his job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like the mission is to whatever they've been trying to do with Jalen Hurts is. I don't necessarily feel like offensively that they've necessarily kind of used the talent that he has around him to help him achieve at his highest level. But I also don't necessarily feel like he's necessarily made progress since that Super Bowl run. It just seemed like he ain't really improved a whole lot. Um, he just
Regress.
because he keep trying to do the same shit. You know, you can't do that in the NFL. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to grow and evolve. Because you know how many players we done seen have a good few weeks, good half season, maybe a whole season. But once people really get tape on you, you know what I'm saying, get that film on you
Mm-hmm.
and figure you out, you got to be able to adjust and evolve. And I feel like that's the difference between like that and when we talk about system quarterback, the vast majority of quarterbacks are system quarterbacks. I agree, but it's a short list of guys who were the system. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't any one kind of offensive philosophy that you had to necessarily have for or with them because they wasn't limited in that way. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just Philly is a mess right now, man. Philly is a mess. Definitely wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't think they still plan on being competitive this season, so I definitely don't think they're gonna spend the first, probably not even a second round pick on it. But maybe a
Yeah, I don't
third,
lose it.
maybe a fourth. You know what I mean? Second or third day pick. I'm basically
Yeah.
expecting it. And if Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts ain't expecting it, he a damn fool.
Mm.
Hey, I will say one thing though, AJ Brown probably would have a lot more credence to it if he caught those damn balls in the playoffs that would have won
That's
them the
a fact.
game.
Oh yeah,
That's a
no doubt,
fact.
no doubt,
You
no
did
doubt.
all that pouting, and then when the biggest moment come, and he get you right in the chest on three different occasions
He
to
had
win the game,
Butterfingers.
you dropped the ball.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
you know what I'm saying. I think I'm gonna have to take the words from Mike, but until next time, he need to shut the fuck up because you dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Nah, for
facts. I
real
forgot.
though.
Yeah, he played like trash. I ain't gonna lie. That was a
He
terrible
did.
playoff.
And you know what? I take that back because he did shut the fuck up. He did not do any interviews with the press. He left the building. He because
Nigga,
he probably
he,
was embarrassed. Like I didn't talk shit all season, and I come out here and do this shit. Ooh, I'm
nigga,
running
he,
away.
he,
He
he
had his
had a
Mike Epps
he had a
moment.
commercial come out that the whole commercial was him talking about how he was always open.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. You're right. I
So,
forgot
so
that
I
Geico commercial.
don't even remember what the
Yeah, he
product
did.
was, but it
I
was a
think it
little
was
lady right
Geico.
next to him, and you know what I'm saying, always open, all the time, always open, always open, always open. And then he went out there and did that shit. So,
Yeah, had Butterfingers the whole entire game. That was crazy.
So So I got one more football topic, and then we can get into the play-in tournament real quick. Make some picks. I'm gonna get some picks from you guys. I just want to open it up. We can start with you on this one, Will, and then we'll go around the rectangle here. Mike and Raj ended off. Marvin Harrison Jr. is rumored to be on the trade block right now by the Cardinals. From what I've read, my Packers are picking up steam hot and strong to go and make the trade to pick him up and get him. I want to know what you guys think on this one. Like, it looks like Arizona is ready to move on from him. Look like they might be giving up because from what I've read so far, it looks like they're looking to gain. I think it was a maybe a first and a second or something like that, which is for a talent of his caliber that just got drafted less than 3 years ago at the place he got drafted. You don't see cats like that get moved, for less than 2 ones or more. So I just kind of want to know your thoughts on that one. Like, what do you think it could be? What type of impact could it be if he does end up in Green Bay?
I definitely think that he still got, you know what I mean, the potential to be an impact player. I don't think, you know what I mean, the Cardinals did him any favors the last 2 seasons with that whole situation that was going on out there. So I don't I don't know if they're gonna get a 1 and a 2 for him because for what he was supposed to be, you know what I mean, and what the all the the expectations around him, you know what I mean, coming out. And again, I'm not saying that I feel like he a bust just yet. I feel like it was a bad situation, but I feel like it's gonna be hard for them to get a 1 and a 2 for him. Um, I think they can get something, definitely a value. I just don't
Yeah,
think it's gonna be a 1 and a 2. And I think it's a lot of teams out there that's willing to, because he's still on his rookie contract. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Even though he was the number 2 pick, right? Number 2 or 3 or something like that.
number two,
So you know what I
number
mean?
two, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So yeah, he's still on his rookie contract. So 2 years, you know what I mean? 2 more years, with the option to have, you know what I mean, that 5th year extension, to kind of see, you know what I mean, what you got. Like, yeah, I think it's a bunch of teams out there they don't want to take a flyer on him. You know me, I definitely don't want him going to fucking Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? I take issue with that part of your question. Fuck that is how I feel about it.
They the only team being mentioned right now is as far as the suitor that's looking to make the move. So they was the only ones I could really, make the argument, I would make the discussion around.
Do Green Bay got a 1 and a 2 to trade for him? Because they just gave up what they gave up for Micah last season.
Well, Micah got hurt too, so I think some things kind of ball back in their favor off that injury. I had to look into it, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it was some things that kind of, went back in as far as draft compensation because he didn't meet the quota of plays played from him getting hurt. But Mike, what's your thoughts on this Marvin Harrison Jr.? Like, do you think he can, whether it's with the Packers or what, if it's somewhere else, do you think he can rejuvenate his young career, kind of bring some more of that promise back of what we thought he was coming out of Ohio State?
Well, considering obviously who his father is, considering that he played with Kyler Murray for roughly a year, and there was inconsistency at the quarterback position on the team he was on. His career numbers through 2 seasons is 103 receptions out of 189 targets, shy of 1,500 yards, 1,493 to be exact, and 12 touchdowns. So
that's damn near 1 season.
Right. But he was hurt for quite a while this season. He missed some games as well. So I believe that the upside is still there. I do believe that a change is needed. Him being in Arizona won't do him any favors, moving forward. Now, if he can go somewhere with an established quarterback, he could be one of the top receivers in the league easily. And I do believe that Green Bay would be a good fit for him. They have an established quarterback, an established offense. I do think they would make moves with him there. I just looked up something and I've seen Buffalo's name is in the mix. So I mean, that would be another. That'd be another good target. And you always know I have to bring up Old Faithful, Kansas City. That's just kind of goes without saying. So those are the 3 that come to mind, like offhand. Because I think that all 3 of those teams need that position, and you may be able to fly in and grab him if you got a 1 and a 2, and that can get him moved. Based on what you're saying, I think one of those 3 teams, all 3 of those teams need help at that position. To me, Green Bay doesn't have that actual elite number 1. They have what's his name? Christian, right? Christian something, right?
Christian Watson.
But his
Watson,
injury
can't stay on the field.
His injuries really take that tone, because when he's out there, that dude can ball. But that's the thing with him. And then you look at Buffalo, like Diggs left, and then it's kind of like, okay, who's the guy now? I don't even know any of the receivers without like looking it up right now.
Didn't they just go out and grab somebody though? I thought Buffalo brought somebody in.
They might have. I might have missed it, or I just don't remember.
I don't think it was I think it was just like a good pickup, but I don't think it was nothing where we all was gonna be like, oh shit. But
right.
I think they did go out and grab somebody though.
But they need someone. These teams need someone to be that guy, to be that number 1. And Kansas City's done a lot with the less, but everyone's caught on to that. Because even like before Mahomes went down, we did, like, the thing about it was they weren't getting blown out. Everyone's like, oh, they're playing bad, but Kansas City was not getting blown out. They were in the games. It's just they have found a way to be on the other side of those 22-19 scores, 24-27. Now people have found a way to stop them and, kind of hone in on Mahomes, if you will. So, but I think an electric receiver or someone who can be electric would be helpful for any of those three teams. And if I'm Arizona and I'm sticking to the rebuild, I think they're sticking with Brissett as their quarterback, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I think I
For
read.
now, yeah.
I read for now.
Yes,
So,
no.
obviously you're going to, he's not going to be your QB of the future. So you have to use what you have and mortgage that to get back something in return. So I think for the Cardinals, it's a good move. And if he can get to, one of those three locations, Green Bay and Buffalo don't seem like too far-fetched. I can't think of any other teams at the moment offhand that would be in that upper echelon, but I think for Arizona, it's a good move to trade him and get what you can for him.
Okay.
Green Bay, my bad. Green Bay don't have a first round pick until 2028. They traded their 2026 and 2027 first rounders to Dallas for Micah. So that's what I'm saying. Like they say they got possibly up to 11 picks next year, but a lot of them is like third day picks, fourth, fifth, sixth round and shit.
So, Raj, what's your thoughts on this whole Marvin Harrison Jr. Saga here? Like, do you think it's over for him? Do you think he can rejuvenate this young career? What are some of the teams that you see him possibly going to that he could, kind of show us who he truly is and who he was coming out of Ohio State? Don't say the Jets.
Of course,
he said, "Don't say the Jets."
But no, all jokes aside, Marvin Harrison Jr. is like one of my sleeper picks when it comes down to fantasy because of the upside. This guy's 6'3". He's 20. He's 23 years old. He'll be 24 when the season starts, so he's still young, and he's got an opportunity to be a breakout wide receiver if he could just get the right quarterback that believes in him. And to be quite honest, if I'm Marvin, I'm staying in Arizona. I'm not leaving. And the reason why is because that's how much I believe.
I don't think it's his choice. It ain't his choice. It's the team.
Well, if he has to go, he got to go. But I would definitely, I wouldn't trade him. Even if I'm the organization, I wouldn't trade him because that's how much I believe in Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett is one of those quarterbacks that can get you over the hump and at least get you to the playoffs. And if you got a good wide receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr., you can put up some numbers. He could be 1,000-yard receiver. It's just a matter of just believing in him. Because when he played with Kyler Murray was always hurt. He's an undersized quarterback. So there's no real consistency when it comes down to the quarterback being out there and building that chemistry. So for him to be in his third season, if he does get traded, I would want to see him on a team where there's a consistent quarterback. So somewhere like you said, Green Bay, or even playing with the Bills, or bring him out there to Kansas City. If you get him on one of those teams, he's going to put up 1,000 yards. He's going to put up some about, I would probably say about maybe anywhere between 10 to about 15 touchdowns in a season. 10 to 15 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. That's how much upside I believe in Marvin Harrison Jr. Because a 6'3" wide receiver, this dude's, you guys watched him play. He can ball when he can catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can get out there and do some things, but he's got to be with the right quarterback. So that's my opinion on it.
So he did play a lot of this season with Jacoby Brissett, the guy that you said you think can take him over the hump or can get a team to the playoffs. I'm here to tell you, I think Jacoby Brissett is nothing more than Geno Smith taken into the player editor on Madden, and you gave him a few extra ticks. That's all he is. I'm just keeping it 100, bro.
So with that being said, bring him to the Jets, man.
You took his awareness up 5, and that's Jacoby Brissett. So
Really
so we
good
gonna
backup,
transition.
mediocre starter.
He's a
Yep,
mediocre start.
yep. And
Oh,
and never come through when you need them the most. When you need Jacoby Brissett to have one of them good games, he let you down. When it's a game, when it's like, man, yeah, the season over, blah, blah, whatever. Who cares about this shit? They playing over in fucking England. Now he come out and look like the second coming of Tom Brady. Like, stop, bro. But let's transition this thing back round to the NBA for the wrap up, gentlemen. The the playoffs officially start tomorrow with the play-in tournament. So I'm gonna go down the list real quick. We gonna
Are we
have
doing?
the Heat
Are we
versus the.
just? I'm sorry. Can we also,
I,
if everyone's cool, I just want to give to go down the potential the matchups that we know so far and kind of give just our opinion on who might win. At least
oh,
what we
okay. You
know
talking about
is
like
gonna.
actual playoffs?
Yeah,
Position we
at
know.
least.
Got you, got
All
you.
right, I'm sorry. Go
But
ahead. Go
real quick
ahead.
on the play-in tournament games, I'm gonna just go through the list real quick. We got the Heat versus the Hornets. The loser of that game will be eliminated. Blazers versus Suns. The winner of that game will get the seventh seed in the West. Magic versus 76ers. The winner of that game will get the seventh seed in the East. And the Warriors versus the Clippers. The loser of that game will be eliminated. So starting with the Heat versus the Hornets, if I can just get a pick out of you guys real quick, we'll start with Raj and then work it around Will, then Mike. Heat versus Hornets. I'm going Hornets on that one. Who you got, Raj?
I got the Hornets as well.
Mike?
Hornets.
Will?
Since everybody else went with the Hornets, and I'm gonna go with the Heat, but my pick was gonna be the Hornets.
Just to be different.
Hey man,
Yeah.
be competitive like that sometimes.
Blazers versus Suns. Same order. I'm gonna go Suns on this one. Who you got, Raj?
Is Devin Booker playing? That's the question. If he's
I
playing,
believe so.
I got the Suns. Yeah, I got to roll with the Suns.
Mike?
I'm going with Phoenix as well.
Will? That's a
I'm
tough
going
one
with
too.
Phoenix.
You
I'm
going
going
with
with Phoenix.
Phoenix?
No, I'm going with Phoenix. I'm
All
going with
right.
Phoenix.
Magic versus the 76ers.
Oh,
I'm surprise y'all on this one. I'm going with the 76ers. Who
nah,
you got, Rod?
That's not much of a surprise for me. I don't believe in Magic at all. You know,
Even hold
They
on,
just
hold
they
on.
just done fell off. They've been on a horrible slide.
yeah.
You're still gonna pick the. You said you're picking the Magic,
No,
No,
I'm
I'm picking
picking
the
the 76ers.
76ers.
even though Embiid's gonna be out.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The Magic is ass.
Okay. He
Did
said
you
the
see
Magic
them
is ass.
struggle to beat? No, I
They
mean no,
don't.
they didn't. They lost, didn't they?
They
They
lost. They
lost,
Didn't
yeah,
lost
they
to
just
the
lose
Celtics
to the
without no
fucking
Celtics
Celtics
starters.
where
team.
they with all the starters? Let all the reserves come out there. Joe Mazzulla on the sideline, gritting his teeth like he just popped three ecstasy pills and a perk 30. I'm like, bro, what the? I'm like, how did they lose this game? It just
They lost to
the Magic got some talent, but they are on a horrible downslide right now, man.
they
So,
Yeah,
lost
I
but I
forgot
got
they
about
lost
that.
to
So
creative players.
who you got? Who you got though, Mike?
they picked up people from Walmart, right, Raj?
Exactly. They went down to the local Walmart out there in Boston and picked some dudes and said, "Yo, y'all want to hoop?" And they beat them. They
I,
How
beat
about
the Magic.
guard
Straight
84?
I'm gonna just go. Yeah, given that, not thinking about that, putting that into play. Yeah, I'm gonna rock with the Sixers too.
Will
Wouldn't nothing surprise me. You know what I mean? In this game, absolutely nothing would surprise me. But for no other reason than Tyrese Maxey. I got more
The,
belief and trust in Tyrese Maxey than anybody else that's gonna be in that
the,
arena. So I'm gonna go with Philly.
and then we all know that the game that I'm pretty sure we all will try to tune in and watch as much of as we can because, ladies and gentlemen, we are all older now, so we don't stay up as late as we used to. I probably yawned 50 times since we've been live with this air blowing on me because it's a little warm today. But goddamn it, the Warriors and the Clippers, the
Ah,
loser gets eliminated. Kawhi versus Steph. I don't know
I
which
just
way to
gotta
go on
say,
this one, man.
I just
I
gotta
really
say
don't.
real quick before we do our picks. You know, it's I never thought I'd see a day where we're talking about Steph Curry and Kawhi Leonard as playing teams.
Exactly.
like just like this don't sit well with me like at all. And I really don't know who to pick either.
You know
I really
what?
don't know who to roll with, but I think I'm gonna just go ahead and roll with the Clippers. I say Kawhi comes through, has one of those Kawhi freaky miracle games. I love me some stuff, but the Warriors they just not a good team, bro. Just being not being frank, Steph having the injuries that he had this year definitely hurt them. I think they probably would have avoided the play in had he not been hurt so much this year. But uh just looking at their team overall though, what I'm saying, outside of him, it's like really nothing there. Like I don't even look at them and be like, oh, they could build on this or they could build on that. It's just really time for them to just go ahead and blow that shit up. Trade
Mm-hmm.
Draymond Green, it's over. So in my opinion, I think the Clippers will win this one. All too many times I pick the Warriors in games and they turn around and they let me down. They get their asses beat, get blew out by teams that you think that they should be able to compete against or beat, and then teams that you don't think that they should beat, they fuck around and compete or win. So I'm gonna just roll with the Clippers on this one, man. I say Kawhi has a crazy game. It'll probably be the best game of the play-in tournament. Who you got, Raj?
Okay, so where do they play? They play in
In
Golden
LA.
State.
Playing LA.
In LA.
Oh, you know
Yeah,
what?
that's why I'm rolling with the Clippers.
I want to roll with the Clippers. I think that they got the best arena in all of the NBA. But unfortunately, I can't erase out of my head when Kawhi Leonard dropped 30 points and said, "I'm done." I don't know what year that was. I think it was like 2 years ago, 3 years
Yo,
ago.
yo,
He just
me and
walked off.
Raj. Yeah,
He just walked
that
off
was
the court.
before you came in, R&B. He dropped 31. And me and Raj was like texting and watching in real time. And then like, we were like, oh, this is gonna be so amazing. And then suddenly he was on the injury report and like never came back. We were
He
like,
never
what
came back.
happened? What happened?
Dude just retired after that. Like, I want to believe in Kawhi. Trust me, Kawhi is one of my favorite players to watch. However, I know he have a tendency of retiring in the middle of the game. Well, with that being said,
Retiring in the middle of the game is crazy.
so with that being said, I think Steph Curry put up 50 points, and I think that he gets them over the hump. But if I'm wrong, I pray to God they fire Steve Kerr. I hate Steve Kerr. Every single time I look at Steve Kerr, I think of how Jordan punched his ass in the face. I get it. I want to punch Steve Kerr in the face. That man have lost me so much money in my life. I hate the Warriors, but I got the Warriors beating the Clippers in this series. It is good.
Raj,
Steve Kerr just kind of
Raj,
remind me
you
of
got
one
a
of
lot of
those.
smoke out here, bro. Raj got a lot of smoke out here, man.
Everyone
Shit.
catching strays
Raj,
tonight.
hey, Raj can't walk too many city streets by himself, bro.
I know, right? I gotta be careful what I say. Too much going on.
Yeah, some people walking up on him.
You know, for real, for real.
What's that you say about our Stevie Kerr boy?
Oh
Who
man.
you got, Mike? The
You
battle
know,
of the battle of the OG Hurts.
it's crazy because you sit here and you think of this, and like I said, it's crazy to think that we're having this discussion about Kawhi Leonard and Steph Curry in the play-in, but somehow, some way, LeBron's still in the playoff. Like,
At 40,
um,
42 years old.
Hey,
but
now, come on now, don't do that now, because if my boy was here, he'd be like, "Oh, there go the hate," but it ain't hate; it's just reality.
Yeah,
Steph and Kawhi not playing with Luka and Austin Reeves. Now, come on, let's keep it a buck. They not playing with them two, so
that's fair.
that
That's
them
fair.
two got a lot to
well,
do with the Lakers being where they at right now.
That's fair. I
And
yeah,
give
that
you
ain't
that.
that ain't to take nothing away from LeBron. That's just being fair.
Yeah, yeah.
but the reality is he's still there. Like what I said wasn't wrong. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the reality is he's still there, but the reality is if you took him and swapped him out with Steph or Kawhi, it would probably be the same result.
Hell, might even be
I,
better.
I don't know. Steph missed a lot of games this year. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like
But
we don't know.
So
We don't even know exactly what Steph is right now. You know what I'm saying? Because he
I'm
missed what,
going.
like
right,
25 games in a row or something with that knee.
Le,
Yeah.
Like so,
LeBron
and,
missed a lot of games this year. I think we forget.
yeah, he missed his early, and then for the most part,
Yeah,
once he came back, you know what I mean? Like he been on the court. He didn't have his load management
which
days because the nigga's 67
right,
years old. You know
right,
what I mean?
which would have boded, which I think would have boded worse for go if he was in Golden State or LA, because Steph got hurt. Remember, Golden State actually started out pretty solid this year. Then
Yeah.
Jimmy went down, then Steph went down. So you swap it out and you take a LeBron away from Golden State early, then Jimmy go down. You looking at a worse team.
I don't know. I'm just thinking in terms of how many games Steph actually missed this year. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
But
it means something to actually be on the court another 20 something more games. You know? But
but to officially answer the question, I'm going with the Clippers.
Who you got, Will?
feel like I'm rolling the dice either fucking way. You know what I'm saying? Because again, as has already been stated, like, Steph coming back off an injury, Kawhi is Kawhi. You never know with him. So again, another one of them games wouldn't surprise me if Steph go out there and have a night game. Wouldn't surprise me if Kawhi went out there and dropped 40. But if I gotta bet on one or the other, I guess I'm gonna take the Clippers. Cause Kawhi been, you know what I mean? Kawhi been cooking for a good, you know what I'm saying? Since he had the early injuries in the season, like he been solid. You know what I mean? Like he should make All NBA. But
Yeah.
like I say, never know with that nigga. But I'm gonna go with the Clippers.
I think I got a quick little question. Between the Warriors and the Clippers, we already know the winner of the Blazers and the Suns get the 7th seed. So that means the loser would go to take on the winner of the Warriors and the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
let's just say between the Blazers, Suns, Warriors, Clippers, which one of those teams would y'all say OKC doesn't want to see in the first round in a 1-8 matchup?
The Clip, the Suns. I would say the Suns.
Hmm.
I don't, I don't think OKC got no concerns about none of that shit. Whoever it is, they lucky if they get one game off of them. I say
Yeah.
that.
I agree with Will, but for the sake of the question, I would say the Clippers, from my perspective.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Again, Kawhi
Yeah.
be doing Kawhi shit sometimes. Sometimes
Right.
it's epic. Sometimes it's you know what I'm
Epically,
saying?
epically
Epic
bad.
Hey,
fail.
what if that nigga go? What if he take him to the AC and average 30 and knock off OKC?
Shit. If that's the
Would not
case,
surprise me because Kawhi be doing
yeah,
Kawhi shit.
yeah,
Wouldn't
yeah.
surprise me at all. To be honest
Then
with
we
you,
need, then we need
like
it. Then
Now
then we
I
need
ain't
to
gonna
have
lie. I think that would surprise me. I'd be like,
that.
"What the fuck,
That
man? I just
surprise me. Knocking off
I mean,
OKC.
look, look. If that happened, I ain't gonna be sitting here like, man, I told y'all niggas. Like, no, like obviously
yeah,
it's like I ain't saying I would bet my check on it. You know what I mean? But Kawhi, when I be talking about difference between greatest or greatness and like best, Kawhi is one of them dudes that's way higher on my list of best players I've ever seen than he is on greatest, just because of how many games he done missed. But what we all done seen, like Kawhi at his best, he's one of the best basketball players I've ever watched. It's just
yeah,
he the health shit. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't do it. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Consistently, well, not consistently, but you know what I mean. He kept having the injuries and shit. And every time we write the nigga off, you know what I'm saying? He
Mhm.
do shit like he did this season.
yeah.
So say, oh, y'all niggas say that I'm out here stealing money. All right.
But I will say
Show y'all something real quick.
he's playing better than I've seen him play in a long time when it comes down to health. I don't know
Health
who's his
wise, yeah.
doctor, but his health is amazing this season. He
Yeah.
played way more games than I expected.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. And if he got hurt in game 2 of the first round, shit wouldn't surprise me.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. He just walked right off the court, and you're like, wait, I didn't see him fall. I didn't see him fall. What the hell happened? He just walked right off.
man, man,
He
if we if
subject to drop 50 in game one, and then by the morning they be talking about rest in peace, Kawhi. He died in the like it
You're
don't
like,
know
what
what
the
happened.
hell?
He just laid down and said, "All right, y'all."
Nah.
I'm telling you, yo, that game. I want to say it was 3 years ago, right, Mike?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
because
that was about
that
3 years
happened.
ago.
It was
That
3 years
happened
ago.
before R&B joined the show. So
I'm,
yeah, that was
I'm,
like 3 years ago
Yeah,
because we
I'm,
was
t- I'm,
amazed because
I'm
it was the
telling you,
Suns and the Clippers. It was amazing.
yes.
And then
I
game 2, we was excited and then instantly depressed when we
Yeah,
found out Kawhi wasn't playing.
like, and you know what's funny? I checked every single like news article. I checked everything because I was saying to myself, I said he played so amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if he's injured. I said I didn't see him walk off the court weird or nothing. I just feel like he's done. And long and behold, he was done. He wasn't injured. He just stopped playing. He said, I'm good. I dropped my 31. I'm good.
I got a
So
question. I got a question for y'all. So,
yeah,
all the talk, and deservedly so, but all the talk right now is about Giannis and you know what I mean, whether Milwaukee gonna trade him or not, which we all pretty much know that shit is about to happen. But is Kawhi like the sleeper, you know what I mean, situation right now? Because he only got 1 year left on his deal. Like, you know what I mean? Do LA maybe look to move him, you know what I mean, this offseason to try to get something out of that situation or try to distance himself from this investigation that's taking place and all of that shit? Is it other,
you know, I didn't
who
think
wants to
of I
trade for
didn't
Kawhi? Like, you know what I mean, right now, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but the injury history and everything, but he just had the season he didn't had. Like, is this a sleeper situation that nobody really talking about?
I think so. I didn't really think of it
could
like
be.
that. But you know what? You brought up a very interesting point because of the whole investigation on that endorsement deal that was fake. Um, Honestly, I think that they're going to trade him because it's better to trade him now while his stocks are high than trade him low while he's injured.
Well, the endorsement deal wasn't fake. He just got hurt. It's like,
Hey, whatever works. All I know is I don't know nothing about that tree company, but he got paid 30 million for it.
oh
Plant
no,
some
that's
trees in
toughy
LA.
though, man. That's a man with the 1 year left on the deal. If anybody does, If anybody does trade for Kawhi, I think it will obviously have to be somebody that's either a contender or feel like they're a player away from being a contender. And it's interesting. We was just sitting up here talking about the team like Orlando. I think
Yeah.
they could use somebody like a Kawhi. I think he could, give them that extra shot in the ass pause that they seem like they might need to sustain and make a true run. I think a lot of people thought Desmond Bain was it. And there's no
No.
disrespect to Desmond Bain. I like him as a player, but I knew he wasn't it. I thought he was a good pickup and a good piece for them, but I knew he wasn't gonna be what I didn't see him going there and be like, "Oh, Orlando about to be the shit." But nah,
You didn't think he was gonna elevate them.
nah. He helped him, but he's not elevating.
You know, I think that's more about Paulo than him though. Like Paulo is the one that everybody is waiting on
Paulo
to.
balling.
Niggas trash though,
Paulo
right?
balling this year.
Man, we people was thought Paulo was gonna take that step and be one of them ones. I know he putting up numbers, but they still like.
Yeah, they did. Based off last year, yeah, you're right. I'll give you that.
So that's what I'm saying.
I'll
Like,
give you that.
he was supposed to take another. What people thought he was gonna take another step this year, and that ain't exactly
Yeah,
happened. He bought. I ain't saying he trash, but
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I think that about wraps it up there. Anything anybody else wants to kind of cover or talk about before we get ready to end this Diddy
No,
thing here?
no, just if you guys can, don't log out when I end the show. I just want to say something backstage before we call it in, but I have nothing else I want to cover.
No, that's it.
Going once, going twice.
nothing to think of.
All right.
All right. Well, that was all she wrote for this evening. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll be back with another edition of Nerdcamp Sports. We out.
Peace.
Peace.